Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America and across the pond, and London, England, as well as Paris, France. And of course, we love you in Africa. We love the Big C tribe. We love you in Canada. But Big C, there's no one we love more than you good old boys down south and the land of the free and the home of the brave. And I'm telling you, Big C's still on his airplane. He's trying to land. Big C, I hope they didn't leave you in the land down under. I know we were talking about that yesterday. I know you've been doing some traveling. You're going to get in on the show a little bit later on Charlton and Big C Sports. I do want to tell you, today is it is beautiful May the 3rd, 2018, in the land of the free, the home of the brave. A lot of good old things happening in the world of the sports universe. I do want to say this segment sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. And if you saw that loud noise coming out of Texas last night, when they told us, Houston, we have a problem. And that problem was Donovan Mitchell. And I know so many people love the world of sports, and they love football, and we love our basketball, love baseball, hockey's good. And of course, golf is teeing off with Tiger Woods back in the swing of things. But I just want to take you back to what happened last night in the world of the NBA. I think a lot of people are very surprised that Utah, looking like they were just done. You know, we talk about Lions and how Lions like to eat. They don't normally ask if they can eat. They just normally go out and do it. But what I noticed last night is, I know Houston's a great team. And I know a lot of people thought it would be a sweep. But there's something about Snyder and the way he coaches basketball. And Gobert, he's a stud down inside. But there was a play for Utah when Donovan Mitchell came down the hole, and he slammed it and he held on to the rim with one hand, and he got the crowd off of the bench. And what that does for Utah, again, Rubio's on the sideline. This is a team that came in limping. I'm not saying that they were at all taken for granted by them good old boys down in Texas. I know they had Rubio on the bench, but Donovan Mitchell, when he comes into a game and you know that you're going to have that support, they don't have that, and they still found a way to get that done. I think Big C's going to be chiming in any minute now, but I think when you look at what happened to Houston, and you're a team that's considered the favorite team to win, at least get to the Western Conference Championship to play the Golden State Warriors. I know they still have to play. Golden State's playing New Orleans, and Houston have to play Utah, but there's something about a team that show resiliency. And Big C, we're going to be chiming you in just a second here. But again, I just got to say, with Donovan Mitchell, what a marquee performance. And we talk about Lions and how Lions go out and hunt. And every now and then your back's up against the wall. And you either believe or you don't. But last night, Utah, not only did they believe, they found a way to win on a team that had dominated them throughout the whole season. And Big C, I think we have you chiming in now. I just want to get your thoughts. I know you saw your plane probably landed a little bit late. Big C, they tried. Where they get all those beads on the plane? They were trying to get those beads off the plane, like Sam Jackson told us. Get all these beads off my bleepity bleep plane. Big C, your thoughts on Utah getting it done in Houston of all places, Big C?
Well, I thought they shocked the basketball world last night. Everyone figured that Houston would just sweep through this series, especially after winning all their playoff games by double digits. And Utah didn't show that much resilience in the first game. And with Ricky Rubio out of the lineup, we know what Donovan Mitchell's numbers have been. He's number 4 on the all-time list as far as rookies with points scored in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Thus far in his career. But, this showed the resilience of being on the road. And we had talked about Rudy Gobert.
Yes.
Not being an integral part of game one, how Houston would take him out of the equation.
Yeah.
Utah found a way to put him back in, to make him pivotal in this contest.
Yeah.
Is that they found a way to get him the ball consistently in the paint. And Houston had no answer for that. He runs the floor well.
Yep.
And he handles the ball in the paint well. And so Houston, they get to a point where they rely on that three-point shot. And yes,
too much.
They're a very profound team in hitting that three-point shot.
Yeah.
But when it's not dropping, that's when you had your problems. You look at what Harden did in the second quarter last night when he had 17 points.
Yes.
It seemed like things were swaying back their way because at one point they had that 19-point lead.
Yeah.
Houston got it down to 9 at halftime. But, you got to give a lot of credit to Coach Quinn Snyder.
He's amazing.
He's one of the unsung coaches in the NBA, and ironically, he should be Coach of the Year when you think of what he had to work with in Utah.
Yeah.
Losing Gordon Hayward, and everybody said, well, this team will be nothing now without Hayward. He brought in a new point guard in Rubio. He brought in a rookie that really, exceeded all expectations of the rookies in the NBA this year.
Yeah.
And so this team has responded well to his coaching. They took on the challenge in the first round, Charlton. They got through that. And now you look at them here against Houston. Houston now is on the ropes. They lost home court advantage to Utah. And now they got to go play at altitude in Salt Lake City.
Yeah. And so when you think about what you just said, again, there's nothing like when a lion wants to eat. They normally don't ask, can I eat you? They just eat you. And I thought Houston had dominated the first game. It was as if one team came in, you made the analogy just the other day. You walk into a fight, and you kind of know you're going to get beat, but you want to fight anyway so the next guy don't think that you're an easy takeout. Well, there's something about a wounded animal where they have nothing to lose. Rubio's on the bench, not that he's their best player, but it forced Donovan Mitchell to be what he really is, Big C. It forced him to be dominant. But also something I noticed last night, and I know people may not even agree with this because, people want to wait until it's done before they agree with things, but I thought that Houston shot themselves out of winning. I saw James Harden, shooting air balls, Big C. That's not what you get from a guy who is considered an MVP of the league, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, he demonstrated a little lack of aggression in the game, Charlton. When his shot was falling, he just got lackluster after that point. And this is not the first game that we've seen Harden shoot air balls. And so you wonder at times where's his legs at.
Yeah.
The season is long in the NBA. He did miss a lot of games this past season. But, it just, at times you look at Harden and with all the beard on, you can never find emotion on him. When you're really talking about a lion, you look at those names. But Harden, is a phenomenal shooter.
Yeah.
When we look at what he can do with the basketball, how he can, get a player off the dribble and just rise up. But last night, it just wasn't his game. I mean, it seems that he expended all his energy in the second quarter.
Yes.
And after that, he was just chasing.
Well, it seems that there are players who can run so hard. If for a track analogy, when you run the 100 meters, you run as hard as you can. When you run the 200 meters, you run as hard as you can. When you run the 400 meters, the same thing. But when you run the mile, you got to pace yourself. And Houston, as good as they are, with Paul and Harden especially, Capella's a great player, but they kind of run themselves on the red line too much, it seems. And the red line for them also, if they don't have the three-point basket falling for them, they don't have a second play to go to. They don't have a second offense to go to. It's almost like we're going to run full speed ahead or nothing at all. Do you think that kind of hurt them last night? When they closed the gap and took the lead, Big C, by about 4 points, they didn't change strategy. They kept shooting the ball up, and they didn't try to work the clock the way they probably should have, Big C. Your thoughts?
But Charlton, that's the way they played all season long. This is not a hold them and set it up, run four corners offense team. This is run and gun. This is the Mike D'Antonio style of coaching. When you look at his history throughout the NBA, when he was with Phoenix, I mean, they shot the ball quicker than anybody in the NBA. They didn't care.
Yeah.
They would make you tired by shooting.
Yeah.
When he got to the Lakers, that same style of basketball didn't work because he didn't have the same type of players he had when he had Steve Nash running the point in Phoenix. And, the Lakers style of players just didn't work and mesh with him.
Yeah.
But now that he's come to Houston, he's sort of found his niche again. He has the players that can move it up and down the court.
Yeah.
But Charlton, everybody can't have a hot night every night.
No, that's true.
That's the thing. You look at Toronto in their last series against Indiana. It took them 7 games to get through that.
Yeah.
And even in this series against Utah, this is a series that's going to go 6 to 7 games. Everyone who thought it was a sweep, now they have to strap in for the long haul, as you say. that mile run.
Yeah, and D'Antonio, he even said that they thought that that first win, it kind of lulled them to sleep when you look at the Rockets. And sometimes if you win too big or too easy, you might take the other team for granted. And so congratulations, Utah. And again, this is why we say that NBA action is fantastic. You can do it on the court. It's not about one person. Now, let me ask people this question. Is Harden still considered the MVP? If you have a guy like LeBron James and you have a guy like Harden, and you've watched both of them play down the stretch, not when you're out in front by double digits, but when you're behind, you got to come back and hold on to the lead. Now, we don't know what's going to happen tonight in Toronto and in Cleveland. I know they're already playing their game, but when you look at the performance, and people sometimes, you mentioned it, Big C, they want to give an MVP award to somebody because he hasn't done it yet. Like the kid that gets the competition trophy as opposed to the championship trophy. If you're voting on MVP and you saw what LeBron did not only against Indiana, but you saw what LeBron has been doing in Canada up in Toronto, would you say that Harden's performance last night is more worthy at home in a loss than what LeBron has done on the road, Big C, getting the win for the Cleveland Cavaliers? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, what we're doing is comparing two seasons. It's easy to look how someone elevates themselves in the playoffs. If you look at the one game that Steph Curry came off the bench, he has to go into the MVP, conversation. You look at what Kevin Durant has done in the playoffs, Draymond Green.
Yeah.
What LeBron James does is special. There's no player in his category. You can always vote anybody MVP any year you want in the NBA.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that LeBron is the best. The MVP trophy is talked about what occurs during the regular season. And, everyone was giving it to Harden based on his performance from last year, rolling over into this year where he had continued at the same pace.
Yes.
Russell Westbrook basically had the same type of numbers this year that he had last year, averaging a triple-double, not even in the all-star conversation.
Yeah.
You look at Kevin Durant, who was the MVP last year in the playoffs, really had a solid season all year long. Not in the playoff conversation as far as an MVP during the regular season, Charlton. So the MVP is a popularity contest amongst the media.
Yeah.
And you look at all professional sports. They took that out of the players' hands to make the media feel that they were important, allowing them to vote on the MVP. You're going to tell me that the NBA has some 550, 600 players that they can't decide who the MVP is amongst them, that they're not savvy and intelligent enough to choose the player who deserves it the most, versus you have people in the media who do not like quote-unquote certain players.
Yeah.
We see that in baseball when people say, well, I'm not voting Barry Bonds into the Hall of Fame. I'm not voting Roger Clemens into the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
I'm not voting Mark McGwire into the Hall of Fame. Why? You weren't sleeping with the guy, were you?
We don't. We don't know, Big Z.
So look at this. You're talking about you don't like the guy because of the relationship that you had with him.
Yes.
That's irrelevant.
Yeah.
I never liked an opponent any time that I played sports, starting in high school, college, professional. But that means I didn't respect his game, Charles. If his game was respectful, I applauded him for that.
Yeah.
He might have been one of those butts that you just didn't want to see at any time. But as an athlete, Charlton, you respected what he did. I mean, there was quarterbacks that, you wanted to tear their head off.
Yes.
But at the end of the game, at the end of the day, Charlton, win or lose, you admired their play. An offensive lineman, a running back.
Yes.
A fellow defensive lineman on the other team, a defensive back on the other team. You applauded their ability. So when I sit here and I watch the media on every level of sports, hockey, the NBA, baseball, football, soccer, when you got these guys saying, well, because of these allegations against this guy, I'm judge and jury.
Yeah.
So it's my feelings. It's not about what the guy did in the arena, what he was paid to do.
Yeah.
This is what you have to understand. He's paid to be a professional athlete. And when he's performing at the optimum level throughout his career, and when he's over with his career, and those stats justify him being voted into whichever Hall of Fame of the professional sport that he's playing,
yes,
and you're going to have some backlash saying, well, I didn't like this part of his career. Let me go back to Art Monk, who played in the NFL with the Washington Redskins, played at the University of Syracuse.
Yeah.
He was a tremendous running back in college. Just like another receiver with that team, Charlie Taylor, with the Redskins. When he retired from the NFL, he was a tremendous running back at Arizona State prior to being drafted by the Redskins. You think about this. The Redskins drafted 2 college running backs. Then when they both retired, when Charlie Taylor retired, he was Pro Football's all-time leading receiver.
Yep.
When Art Monk retired, he was Pro Football's all-time leading receiver. Both of those players, Charlton, spent more than a decade. Art Monk spent 19 years.
Amazing.
Trying to get into the NFL Hall of Fame.
Amazing that it took that long.
Because they would not give interviews to sports writers.
Yeah.
They didn't care about their statistics, what they meant to the game. They both played in Super Bowls. But they said because they didn't give us interviews, we're not going to vote them into the Hall of Fame.
You know, that's
How
very
petty is that?
It's very petty. And sometimes people have an agenda. And that's the thing I love about racing. If you're a boxing, you know how we saw Horn and Pacquiao fight in Australia last year, Big C, and Pacquiao beat the dude up so bad the guy could barely stand. He was thanking Pacquiao for not knocking him out, and they gave the fight to Horn. We know that was home cooking. That's the one thing I don't like about sports where you got to vote for who wins. You know, we got to vote for who's going to be in the national championship picture in college football. We'll touch on some of that later. But in the NBA, you don't vote for who's going to get seeded number 1 or 2 or number 1 or 8. You get to get in the game based on how many wins you have. And when it comes to voting for MVP, it's not as easy as going by who scored the amount of points or the most points, but you do the eyeball test. And again, I ask anybody with a vote. And I know they say it's based on regular season, but you got all your money riding on one person. And you want to put it on the best player in some league, any league for that matter. Hockey, NBA, NFL, doesn't matter. But if you look at guys down the clutch, LeBron James, what he's done, Harden, what he's done, who are you really more impressed with? And I know you said that it's an award that people give for regular season, but at some point in time, I know you, as an athlete, Big C, I know there's times when you may have had more sacks than someone on your own team. Of course, you pull for your teammate, but you don't pull for him more than you pull for you. If you get more sacks than your teammate, if you get more tackles behind the line of scrimmage than your teammate, if you get double teamed more often than your teammate, yet he makes the winning tackle to stop the game from being lost at the goal line, and they give him MVP. You've out-sacked him, you've out-tackled him, you fought more double teams. How would that feel as an athlete when you know they're saying, yeah, but we got to give it to this guy because you get it all the time, Big C? Your thoughts?
And Charlton, that's very true. I mean, because you don't feel good about the situation. They're your teammates, and you applaud any accolades that they may get. But the thing about sports writers versus players is that they don't understand the intangibles of the game. They see the highlights, just like what fans see on television on these sports shows.
Yes.
They see the highlights. They don't see the inner workings of a game. But, you know, the fortunate part is about the players do have an award ceremony that's just involving the players with it, but players vote on it.
Yeah.
The most outstanding positions, you know, players in every, you know, every team. You know, one year I won that. And to me, of all the awards I ever won, to me, that is the most prestigious award because it was voted by the offensive linemen in the league.
The guys who knew what you were doing. Yeah.
I was the most dominant defensive lineman in the league. I won championships. All-stars, all-pro, all this stuff. I got all individual trophies.
Yeah.
But that trophy, Charlton, means more to me than any other trophy I ever won.
Yeah.
Because it was voted to me by my peers when they indicated to everybody else that I was the most dominant guy, that they hated me.
Yeah.
But they respected me.
And that's
they
the thing.
Because of my work ethic.
Yep.
I earned it. Not my disposition,
yeah,
they would have never gave it to me.
Or if you gave someone an interview or something, and that's sometimes, and again, I know people root against LeBron James. You know, the guy's vibranium, the guy's a stud. Who knows what's going to happen in Toronto tonight? Toronto, if anything, they should even the series. I know they're playing as we speak, but I just think of the fact that I like seeing guys who cross the finish line first actually get the award, not the guy you want to get the award. And so that's why I just pull for the guys who dominate. And if you go back in time and we look at the Harden performance, you brought up a great point about Steph Curry. Steph Curry hadn't played in over a month. Steph Curry had been dealing with 2 injuries really this past season, but he came back when he was ready. He didn't rush it back, And his teammates knew how invaluable he was. They got him involved in the game. And to knock down 26 points, I think his first basket was actually a three-point play. And on top of that, he plays good defense. He gives you a lot of that infusion that a lot of guys look for. And even though Durant might be the best player on the Golden State Warriors team, even Durant concedes to Curry. There was a time when they were playing the game in New Orleans, and Curry got a steal. And he and Durant ran by each other, and they high-fived, kind of a low five, Big C. But that's respect. They're not competing for who is the most dominant alpha dog or lion on that team. And so I really appreciate that. I do want to get your thoughts on, before we touch on what's going on in Toronto. I know that when you look at the teams that are playing, Boston at home, but Philadelphia, I just want to get your feeling on that. It seems like Philly should maybe not sweep them, but again, there's no Kyrie Irving, there's no Gordon Hayward. Boston, they're being well coached, and they're hanging in there by their coaching. Philadelphia, about the process, I know they're young, but if they're going to really do the process, this has to be this year, Big C. This is not something people say, well, get another 2 or 3 years. Your thoughts?
Well, what Boston did to Philadelphia in that first game, Charlton, is they figured out Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Don't let him get to the basket. You can't put the ball in the air from the outside. Keep him on the perimeter.
Yeah.
He can't shoot outside. And everybody knew that all year long in the NBA.
Yes.
That Ben Simmons is a tremendous penetrating 6'10" guard.
Yes.
That when he's in the paint, he's dominant.
Yeah.
When he's outside the paint, Charlton, when he's out there on the arc, he's nobody. Joel Embiid might be a better outside shooter at 7'2" than what Ben Simmons is.
Yeah.
So this is what Boston has done. They have forced him outside. They don't let him penetrate.
Yeah.
And also Al Horford for Boston, who is a much better offensive player than people have given him credit for throughout his entire career since he left the University of Florida.
Yeah.
He was a shooter when he was in college. He's been a decent shooter in the NBA. But now that he has Embiid on him, Charlton, he's more mobile than Embiid.
Yeah.
And he's allowed to play his game.
Yeah.
But they've allowed Horford to be injected into the offense. When you look at the young players of Randall and Tatum,
yeah,
they've just been tremendous. And, if you were going back doing the draft over again, Tatum may have been the first player taken in the draft.
Yeah.
You look at Falk, who's sitting on Philly's bench, who hasn't played at all this year.
Yeah.
And Tatum, could have been up for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
But, they figured out Ben Simmons.
Well,
that he's not an offensive weapon.
That's a good
point.
point.
And you don't allow him to become an offensive weapon. If you take somebody who doesn't have a game and you let him play what he can't do well, then you have the advantage. And so you got to give the advantage to Brad Stevens in this situation. And you say, hey, keep him outside. Do not let him penetrate. Play him to his left-hand side all the time.
Yes.
Force him to go to his right. Yes, he can dribble, but he can't shoot with his right hand. And the only time he's going to put it in the air is with his left hand.
So
they've taken that away from him, and so they've defensed Philly well. And they got to figure out how to get Simmons coming off the screen, have somebody else handling the ball if they want to win.
You brought up a very salient point, Big C. I look at Donovan Mitchell, I look at Ben Simmons, and those two guys are considered maybe up for Rookie of the Year. I want to get your thoughts on what you just said. I don't think Donovan Mitchell is guardable. Even in a bad game, he dropped 21 points. If your bad game is 21 points, that's not a bad statement about how dominant he can be. But you just mentioned something that a lot of people are going to start paying attention to with Simmons in the playoffs. If you know their weakness, all you do is stop their weakness. I mean, you guys drug that horse down at USC when they came to play Alabama. That horse hadn't been the same, Big C, that white horse. And so you guys know what it's like when you go put the stuff in people's drinks, Big C. But again, when you brought up that point, and people vote for what they see regular season. But sometimes you call somebody in when you gotta have what you need. We talked about everyone having angels. Who are the angels in our lives? At Donovan Mitchell. When he hung on the rim last night, it reminded me of Vince Carter back in the day at the Coliseum in Oakland when they had the 2000 All-Star game, and he dunked the ball, Big C, and he was hanging on the rim like with his elbow. I remember being at that arena, and it just went crazy for the competition. I saw that same reaction last night in Houston when Mitchell hung on the rim, and his bench came up. I was like, you know what, guys, we do believe. We do have a chance. Do you see him? Did he just do something to rise up in the NBA universe as far as people that you say, this guy we can count on day in and day out, just like Sunshine? Big C, your thoughts?
with Charlton, his play has presented that all season long. He's averaged over 20 points a game as a true rookie.
Yeah.
And you got to realize Simmons was drafted 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Didn't play. You can say that Embiid is a rookie. He didn't play
Yeah.
for a couple of years. So both of those guys, if they want to be technically classified as rookies, they can be that.
Yes.
But Donovan Mitchell is a true rookie. So he is hands down Rookie of the Year in the NBA. You can vote for Simmons, but let's be realistic. You can't come in and get a redshirt year and you can a rookie because you got a paycheck for it entire year.
that's
So to be considered Rookie of the Year, get back that rookie money.
No,
okay?
them fighting words, Big C.
They're not going to do that.
No.
So this is where you think about Mitchell. He plays out somewhere in the neighborhood where you live, in Utah.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Who's in the East Coast sitting up waiting on
Watching.
a West Coast game to come on at 11 o'clock at night on the
Donald,
West Coast?
Donald Trump. Donald Trump, Mitt Romney.
Okay, yeah, well,
Hold on. Before, you just brought up something. We're going to touch on Cleveland in a bit. But I know you voted for Donald Trump, but I know that Moonshine was talking to you, Big C, so I forgive you for that, and so did a lot of good people. But his friend, Giuliani, I know you know Giuliani. Yeah, Rudy.
Rudy.
With friends like that, who needs enemies, Big C? He must have been on the shine before he got on Fox News. And he was...
You think about that interview last night.
Yeah.
That was the most comical interview that an alleged
Yeah.
intelligent man could ever get.
Yeah.
He sit there, and if there was ever any dirt on Donald, he threw it all on him last night.
Yeah.
And I think, because he's listened to Fox so much, and he's been a correspondent on Fox. He and Sean Hannity, have dirt on each other, so they were sitting there having a conversation.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Rudy forgot that the camera was on.
Yeah.
He honestly, he thought he was just talking to Sean.
Yep.
And he even said that at one time with Sean, our friend, He said, no, the president, Donald, Mr. Trump, the president, He got confused going on. But think about this. Donald Trump, the president,
Yep.
just a couple of weeks ago, said he knew nothing about any payoff to Stormy Daniels.
Nothing.
Stated this on television.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Said if you needed to know anything, you needed to talk to his attorney, Michael Cohen.
Yeah.
Okay? 2 days later, Michael Cohen's, everything he had got raided. House, apartment,
Yeah.
office, his glove compartment in his car.
Yeah.
They took a couple of his dreams also. All right?
Richard Pryor, huh?
They also said it was an illegal raid.
Yeah.
But this is the FBI. I don't know the FBI.
Oh, man.
Things, all right?
Yeah.
But here's Rudy Giuliani saying that James Comey was a liar, pathological, everything. Rudy Giuliani hired him.
Yeah.
In the 49th circuit. And so he hired this guy.
Yes.
He consorted with him, okay?
Yep.
Worked on cases with him. So Rudy said last night that he technically was a pathological liar and a dishonest person.
Yeah.
Because he worked with Jim Comey on many cases before Jim became the FBI director.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Judy is talking about saying, hey, Donald paid this money back. Okay? Well, Donald said he knew nothing about it. Oh, no. That's when Hannity started panicking.
Yep.
He said, no, he paid it back. He funneled it through a law firm.
Yep.
But he paid him. He paid Cohen $35,000 because Cohen has no clients. He said, wait a minute, Cohen was in court. Said he had 3 clients. I was one of them. He
That's
said,
funny.
well, you sure what you're saying? Yeah, I know. They have nothing.
That is
They
funny.
didn't have anything until you open your mouth.
And so, we started earlier in the NBA. We saw Mitt Romney at the Utah game, and he was giving Russell Westbrook the 47% sign, Big C. And now we hear people that defend Trump. And there's nothing wrong with defending friends. Nobody's perfect. But here's a guy that's been lying and saying that everybody else is lying and fake news, and then all of a sudden, Giuliani comes on.
He's an attorney.
Yes. That's the crazy thing. No matter you're Democrat or Republican, we know Trump's shady, okay? Unless you're just an ignorant person. We know he's shady. But when
Giuliani said he was shady. Giuliani made the statement last night. I do this for clients all the time. If there's a problem, I pay it off. I don't bother with it. I pay off. I'm going to fix it. This is what he said. So he said this happened when I was the mayor of New York.
Yep.
Took payoffs.
Yeah.
I had my wife and my girlfriend in the same house.
Yep.
So I know how to handle these scandals.
I just think, if it wasn't, I have this DVR, so I tend to DVR a lot of things. But when I heard one of his top advocates dropping dime on POTUS said he didn't do something. Rudy said, yeah, he did it. In fact, he told me he did it. And they all know he did it. but they still look for a few stupid people. And I remember one of the great movies was called Godfather, and they say you keep your enemies close, but you keep your friends closer. And Donald Trump, I don't feel for the guy because I read a lot about the Central Park Five, so I don't feel for him. I wish everybody would Google that story. But when you realize if you're Donald Trump, the people that are going to hurt him are the people that are involved with him, the people that are colluding with him. And you know it's like the Jeter and Brutus story, but you understand that he has all these people that know he's dirty, and then they have to go take a soft drink or a drink before they get on TV, and they forget what they're not supposed to say in Giuliani. I just thought he still tried to bring up Hillary Clinton for some godforsaken reason, but his own boy, he dropped dime on him. And I wondered, those fundamentalist women, those Christian women down in Texas that didn't believe anything about these women, anything about paying the money, do they call Giuliani a liar, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, he said he was last night.
Yeah.
But he said he was honest also.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a complex situation. And I think the followers of Trump will say he misspoke.
No, he didn't speak.
No, but he was very brazen about what he was saying. And even Sean Hannity was so uncomfortable, he was trying to get him out of it.
Yep.
He was trying to end the interview, but he didn't know how. It even stopped him. He's like, you realize what you're saying is me also?
Yep.
You said the guy went to court. I said that I was one of his clients, and you saying the guy had no clients.
Yes.
Yet he went into court saying he had 3 clients. But you walking in here saying he doesn't have clients. We're on national television.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Even my dumb audience knows that you like it.
That's funny. Who was that good boy back in the day? Flip Wilson. He used to tell his wife that loose lips sink ships. Which one? Was it Esther and Sanford and Son? I know one of them said that loose lips sink ships. And I think Red.
That was Flip Wilson.
Was it Flip Wilson?
Flip Wilson show.
Okay, Flip Wilson show from back in the day.
He was playing Geraldine.
Yep, Geraldine. Loose lips, sink ship. So I just thought that Giuliani was just dropping dime on Trump last night. I thought that was incredible. I do want to say that sports is a $1 billion industry, and that boys and girls sports is a foundation to this $1 billion industry. And for every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports. Whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, even your mom and papa soccer league, when you reach out to them, let them know Big C sent you. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. So again, I feel for Trump because even we talked about the sofa and someone walking into your house, putting your foot up on the couch. Big C, one of my favorite movies was Pulp Fiction. It had the great Sam Jackson. It had John Travolta. It had Uma Thurman, and my favorite actor in that movie was Vin Rames. And it even had another good old boy, Bruce Willis. Oh, man.
Harvey Keitel.
The best.
Was long.
It was long. But this is a situation that most men and women have found themselves in. I remember that time when Vin was out of town, and he asked homeboy, John Travolta, to watch his wife. Yeah, he asked her to watch his wife, and they went and got a milkshake. And she was flirting with him, and he was flirting with her, I mean, Hulk Hogan knows what I'm talking about, Big C. He was watching his friend's wife, too. But he had this thought, just go home, don't touch her because Vin Rames don't play, right? But he had that dialogue within him. And I see those same kind of behavior with Donald Trump. He's around people he thinks he can trust, but they're all dropping dime. What message, Big C, can we all learn from that story? Don't have your best friend watch your wife when you're out of town, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, I think what's occurring with Donald is that people are saying that I want to go home and see my kids at night.
Yep.
I don't want to be making collect calls to the house from some jail's cell phone or pay phone, whatever they have up in there.
Right.
That's an expensive deal. You're making a collect call nowadays.
Yep.
I would rather hug my kids other than my cellmate.
Yeah.
Because they've seen that law is real.
Yeah.
And that Trump may be president, he might be able to pardon himself and all these other things.
Yep.
But these other people are going to do time.
Yep.
Trump may pardon them, but even Congress after a while will start saying, hey, we can't let this criminal act keep going. The reason why Trump is president and still president is that the Republicans had an agenda that they were trying to get across.
Yep.
And they were willing to take this backlash and embarrassment to get their agenda across. even though they haven't accomplished anything. They still have never abolished Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act.
Nope.
They passed this tax bill that the American public will see in 2 years that they all got their pants down around their ankles, trying to find the soap on the floor. All right? That's what he did to the general public.
Yeah.
Corporate's going to be fine.
Yeah.
They're going to get all the tax breaks in the world.
Yeah.
It's just like, when he came in as president, he's talking about he's going to have these huge fines and tariffs on all these companies that leave America or try to leave America.
Yeah.
Ford Motor Company announced last week they're only going to make 2 styles of cars in America now. That's it. Everything else will be coming from Mexico.
Yep.
What is he going to do to Ford? He made no announcements.
No.
Nope. Just Ford?
No.
Think about that. Think about how many American jobs are gone, by the way, high-end quality jobs in the auto industry, Charlton. Ford will only make 2 cars in America any longer.
That's incredible.
That's the F-150 pickup and the Mustang.
That's incredible.
Everything else will be made in Mexico.
Yeah.
Trump and the White House said nothing about that. But they gave Courier Air Conditioner right after he was elected $15 million, well, $7.5 million to stay in America.
Yes.
To keep 150 jobs.
Yeah.
150 jobs was worth $7.5 million of taxpayer money.
Taxpayer money.
Ford just said they were leaving last week and leaving only 2 models to be built in America.
Haven't heard much about that, have you?
Thousands of jobs are gone now, and he's not saying anything.
And they still got people thinking about, do we need $20 billion to build a wall? And Ford's only going to make 2 Fords in the United States. I know a lot of people don't read, and they can't wait to see who won the game until their job's gone. I got a friend of mine was just telling me the other day, had a great job, federal government job, and told me that he's going to be laid off by the federal government, okay? I thought Trump was going to get everybody employment, but he voted for Trump. So, sometimes you vote for who you get.
You think about America's most iconic motorcycle, Harley Davidson.
Yes.
Will no longer be built in America come 2019.
Oh, really?
They're all going to be built in Europe. Trump didn't stop this. He's allowing it to go. Harley Davidson will be built in Europe. They won't have to deal with the tariffs of aluminum and steel, and it's cheaper labor over there.
Isn't that amazing?
He's not announcing this.
No.
This is America's most iconic motorcycle that was saved in the past by a president, Charlton.
Yeah.
Okay? And now Trump's letting it go.
That's incredible, Big C. So more than just watching the score, you got to pay attention to your job, because with automation and these what they call artificial intelligence, they won't need a lot of people over the next 20 years in the workforce. They're being replaced by computers. And you good old boys that voted for them at your Ford Motor Company, and they're sending your jobs overseas. I mean, just keep in mind, you got to read. If you would have read, you would never would have voted for that garbage. Big C, I do want to swing back to the NBA. I know we love our sports, but we also are not just dumb people, so we got to keep it real. I look at what's happening up in Toronto, and I know it's a game where the Cavaliers and the Raptors are going neck and neck as we speak, and just a lot of what people have understood about the world of sports. You're seeing competition, and you're seeing it at its very best. Don't know who's going to win the game, but at Cleveland, if they come back with a split, they've already won. Toronto, this is their game 7 tonight. They cannot go down 2-0 and try to win, 4 of the remaining 5 games in that series. Let me ask you, Big C, I want to get 2 thoughts. Number one, I want to ask you, what sign do you look for, not just this game, but what type of momentum for both teams do they have to carry into a Game 3, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Toronto has an advantage inside in the paint, but they have to be willing to utilize that advantage, Charlton. Allow LeBron James to get what he's going to get. Shut down the rest of the team. I mean, LeBron's going to go in and get 40 points. And he has to have 40 points for Cleveland to win.
Yes.
When you look at what he's done in both of these series, Indiana and against Toronto.
Yes.
He's had to have 40 points for his team to win, Charlton. Without LeBron scoring 40, they don't win. So put just a little bit of defense on him. Allow him to do what he does. Put just a little bit of defense on him. Let the team rely on other people. I know Corbin had a decent game. J.R. Smith knocked down some threes.
Yes.
As well as Love. But this is the engine that's driving this train, Charlton, LeBron James.
Yeah.
And you cannot allow him to have a free run. You might want to think about Hack-a-Shaq theory.
Yeah,
okay?
it worked.
LeBron's not the greatest free throw shooter. And if you can get him on the free throw line where he's about 68 to 70% in the playoffs, I'm going to keep him parked there.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring off players off the bench and utilize some fouls against LeBron. But I'm not going to let him knock down threes on me.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep him on the free throw line.
Yeah. That's a good
where
point.
I'm going to keep him because he's not going to hit 80% in the game from the free throw line. So I'm going to keep him there, and I'm going to keep him busy. But while I got him busy on the free throw line, Thompson, he's out of rhythm.
Yes.
That's where he is. He's out of rhythm because they can't move the ball up and down the floor. The game is slowed down.
Yeah.
And when the game is slowed down, that's where Toronto dominates in the middle.
Well, I tell you what, it's going to be a great series. I want to see Toronto get the win tonight just because I want to see more basketball. And I know Cleveland doesn't care to hear that commentary, Big C, at all. They couldn't care less what Toronto thinks. But I still want to sing, "Oh, Canada." I want to sing that. But before, we talked about this yesterday, and it's all over USA Today. It's all over every sports page today, the day after we talked about this. And ironically, I think you must be a bit prescient. You have a lot of knowledge of things before the fact. We talked about that fan interaction with the players. We were talking about it before the playoffs even began. We talked about it especially with Mitt Romney gave the 47% sign to Russell Westbrook. Now, how do we know, and you said it's going to happen again. This was before the series started with Cleveland and Toronto. So with Drake doing his thing against Perkins, could you imagine how wrong Drake was? Could you imagine if Perkins walked into Drake's recording studio and started giving them the blankety blank and the blippity blip and I'm going to kick you blankety blank? Could you imagine what any entertainer, I've known from agents and producers, sometimes they'll have a knucklehead walk into their studio and use profanities at them. Could you imagine if they reverse the situation for people that say, well, the players are wrong? If Homeboy walked into Drake's studio where he's trying to do another song and started calling bleakety bleak and blankety blank, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, what Drake did is what we used to call in the old days, they call them wolf tickets, okay?
Yeah.
He's barking a lot.
Yeah.
But if Perkins had came at him, you ever see a scared dog? What's the first thing? He taps his tail when he starts to run.
Yep, okay. I got one of those dogs.
And start howling.
Yeah.
I didn't expect you to come after me.
Yeah.
And that's what Drake was. Drake knew that there were people around him. It was one of your favorite, Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
he had a skit one time. And he was at a party, and Jim Brown was there as well as other athletes.
Yeah.
And Richard had a little West Coast moonshine, a little too much.
Yeah.
And he started dropping the F-bombs on Jim Brown. I ain't caring about Jim Brown. Let it go. I'll kick his so-and-so.
Yeah.
Okay? And he had 3 or 4 people holding him back.
Yep.
And Jim said, gentlemen, I believe if you do what the man said, let him go, he can express himself a little better.
Yeah.
And Richard started whispering to everybody was holding.
Yeah.
That if anybody took any finger off his body, he was going to kill him. Okay?
Yeah.
And so just ease him on out the place. Let this place, let it settle down.
Yeah.
And that's where Drake was selling wolf tickets. But it's what we talked about.
Yeah.
The fans, you bought a seat. You didn't buy the player. You didn't buy even part of the court.
No.
But this is the NBA's fault right now.
Yeah.
They're letting this escalate. Now, when we got just common people that we see that we don't know who they are,
yeah,
going after players, reaching out, trying to put their hands on them, invading their personal space, just like when Steffi Graf got stabbed at a tennis match.
Yeah.
This is what's occurring. And so what's going to be the limit? We already saw in Auburn Hills with Ron Artest against the Detroit Pistons when he went up in the stands, attacking fans who were throwing stuff at him. We saw it at the Jaguars playoff game last year in Seattle when fans were throwing liquids at players who had been expelled from the game, Charlton.
Yeah.
Now there's no boundaries. Players, when you're at work like anybody else, it's supposed to be a safe sanctuary. Is the NBA going to get like Google, Charlton, that suffered a mass shooting, or was it YouTube? YouTube. Last month, where a disgruntled person who had been on a YouTube channel comes in because you pulled her streaming, and she's going off on employees there. So what's going to stop a fan from just attacking an NBA player on the court? We saw it close with Russell Westbrook in the corner of a game, first round of the playoffs, where a guy had his fist balled up.
Yeah.
He bumped into him. And so what will the NBA do now to protect its product? You know, they're always talking about, well, you can't use drugs and we're going to suspend you. You got to act a certain way.
Yeah.
But you don't put the same onus on the fan when they want to disrespect the player, call them all type of, words
Yep.
that we can't even say on the air. I like to use them. I'm not gonna lie, but I just can't say them on the air.
Yeah.
But,
like Pulp Fiction, you like to use certain words.
It needs to be self-serving.
Yeah.
Through its product. Protect your product. Make your players safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
They use words against each other all the time. And they get teed up. Think about that. You say that to a fellow player, you get teed up by a ref.
Yeah.
But the fans do this to you. Drake's butt, I guarantee you, sitting in that same seat tonight.
Yep, and you think about it, if Drake really wanted to challenge Perkins, they probably could meet someplace and do a pay-per-view fight. And you can have the MMA style fight where you can really, like Richard Pryor, that Jim Brown told Richard Pryor, gentlemen, I think if you let the man go, he could express himself a little better. Drake could challenge, and I'm all serious about this, for the guys that want to sell Wolf tickets, they both have enough money. They can do a charity MMA style 3-round MMA match. Everything goes. Oh, you think it'll go 1 round, Big C? Okay. Okay.
And when Drake gets tired of running, he's going down.
So I think Drake would even show that he means business when he got into the octagon, and then show that he really means business. Not when you got 5 bodyguards, because I don't think they let the bodyguards in the octagon with you. Big C, that make any sense?
Oh no, Trump. It's mano or mano. You're going to find out who has on a skirt and who has on some tights.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope that the league can fix that, because I know we're at a point now, and again, and a lot of people, they hear these stories, a lot of parents get out of control. And you can go and watch any AAU basketball game sometime, Big C, Little League, baseball, we talked about that. Even football games where high school teams are playing. And sometimes the fans get so irate. I've seen some fans even go onto the field and challenge a referee. Now, I remember one time when I was younger, I saw an athlete fight, punch a referee. That's crazy. But to have people come out of the stands, and they only did it because no one put a stop to it. The league can say we're going to warn Drake, they want his money, but they don't need his money. But you got to set a precedent and say when you touch our product, you're suspended.
They can't even fine him. Think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
They can't fine him. He's a citizen. They have no control over him other than keeping him out of the arena. Will the NBA keep Drake out of the arena?
No.
Because he's a marketable part of the league. Because he's, a representative of Canada.
Yeah.
Big-time entertainer. Sings the national anthem.
Yeah.
Sings both of them, the Canadian and the American one.
He don't sing it better than us, though, Big C. We do a lot better than he does, and we're not challenging Cedric Perkins.
But that comes down to that preferential treatment, that the league cares more about the fan than it does about its product.
Yeah.
Back in the old days, Charlton, if a fan came into a football field, we take care of it.
Yeah.
We took care of the fan. Sometimes he went to sleep.
Yeah.
But we took care of that situation. He was deterred not to cross that line again. Okay?
Yeah.
He didn't feel well.
Yeah. No, that's funny. I hope they apologize. People argue and fight. That's what people do. Kids do it. Grown folks do it. When kids do it, they'll fight and they'll be out playing again the next day. Sometimes grown folks fight and they want to end up in court not talking to each other just for foolishness. I hope they can both talk about the Black Lives Movement, Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter. Wouldn't it be great for them to have cooler heads say, you guys, here's a teachable moment. A teachable moment meaning that we had something that was, maybe exploded more than it should have been. Maybe it's just people talking smack because they always do.
Charlton, this is what you say. The NBA needs a teachable moment.
Yeah.
This is where the NBA puts a PSA out.
Yeah.
No violence, no bullying. The NBA will drop the ball on this. If the NBA was really a serviceable industry, Charlton,
Yeah.
they could have put a PSA together yesterday, today, or tomorrow and have it running this weekend.
Yeah.
You have those two individuals in the same city. Toronto's the hub of Canada.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me there's no network up there, no TV stations in Toronto where you can walk in and put together a PSA if they can broadcast the game out of there, Charlton? How hard is it for someone to type up a PSA? We had the First Lady not too long ago doing a fake go around talking about no bullying.
Yeah.
And she's living with the biggest bully in America.
Yeah.
is truly a moment when you're talking about the NBA playoffs.
Yes.
The hub of sports right now in North America.
Yes.
Where you get Drake in the entertainment field and you get Kendrick Perkins, a player.
Yeah.
Put together a PSA. Speak about how wrong these type of actions are.
Yeah. I think
there is volume for the NBA. The NBA is missing the boat in this situation.
Yeah.
Where everybody is sitting there talking about the negativity of it. Take it and turn it positive. You won't hear that on any of these other networks, Charlton, where the NBA has a chance to make this a teachable moment about non-bullying and threatening in America, Charlton.
I think that would be a great teachable moment. And again, I speak to my black brethren, African American brethren. We talk about how vibranium makes people superhuman. We all believe in that. Everybody's out pollinating. It's springtime. The flowers are blooming. But it's also a time because a lot of people criticize Trump for not even being contrite, not saying I'm sorry for anything, no matter what he does. I would hope that two well-known African-American men can say, you know what? We just came off of Dr. King, and now we're going to say to the whole universe that we're not too big to say I'm sorry. I would hope that would happen, Big C. I do want to touch a little bit on the world of what's happening in the golf. I know Tiger Woods back in the swing of things, and when you think about golf, even after the Masters, didn't have that great of a showing. They're doing Quail Hollow now, and he finished the day even, tied for 34th. I hope he makes the cut, probably will. But it's still that I haven't talked about golf really since the Masters, Big C. And I know he didn't have the greatest showing, but the build-up was good. And whether he comes back and finishes in the top 10 or not, it's still, a lot of people are now talking about golf. The purse is $7.7 million. It's going to be watched on CBS Sports. Give me your thoughts. You're down south. Does it still have that appeal when Tiger shows up? Or is it still that golf is still going to take a back seat because the NBA playoffs is just so fantastic? Basically, your thoughts.
Tiger's the only appeal in golf, Charlton. It's the only reason people will watch golf this weekend is that Tiger's made the cut and that he's in the chase. I mean, he had a sloppy 16th hole today, Charlton, where he three-putted.
Yeah. Which
he would have been under par. He would have shot a 69. But instead, he three-putted and shot a 71. He ended up even on the course. And if he had shot the 69, Charlton, he'd only be 4 strokes off the lead. And now he's 6 off the lead. But he's the relevancy of the sport, the interest, the story. Because not just us, but everybody that talks golf, it's Tiger. He's the opening part of their monologues, Charlton.
Yeah.
Tiger. Because they, down deep, want to see him be competitive. Whether you like him or not, that fishbowl that he creates is what resonates and exudes the game of golf.
Yeah.
They don't care who's on the leaderboard right now. No one even knows the guy.
It's Peterson, yeah.
But you're still talking about Tiger, who is 6 shots back.
Yeah.
Not just us, but every network that's covering sports is saying Tiger.
Yeah.
Show me who's in 5th spot, who's 5 shots back. They don't mention his name.
Yeah.
The guy who's 4 shots back. They don't mention his name. Tiger's 6 shots back. His name is number 1 on the mention board.
Well, you know how we use the Tiger Woods was the greatest athlete, at least in golf history. And I know there's still some people that are just having conversation with the barbershop, a lot of guys that talk about what's going on in the world of golf when Tiger's pitching, or when he's pitching, and when he's down there trying to putt and he's chipping. He's great with his putting. His putting is excellent. It's just on the fairway he's been a little bit more, erratic. But do you even buy into this, it's hard to even say, but it's conspiracy that because golf has been known as a white man's game for the most part, Big C, that there's this conspiracy that people don't want to see him break Jack's record, and that some of this is just, it's like Hollywood can be make-believe and so can the world of sports at times. I don't want to believe that someone would say, well, I want to buy this conspiracy that I'm not going to try to touch Jack's record while Jack's around, because Jack's done a lot to even open doors for a Tiger. But would that have even 10% or 50% merit, Big C, your thoughts?
Charlton, I don't think it has any merit. I think Tiger right now is his own worst enemy.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to utilize the right clubs. And that's in any sport. I mean, we talked about baseball with the mass amount of strikeouts that they'd had a couple of days on our show where they'd had 269 more strikeouts than hits this year already. And that's because you have one swing. You don't know how to make adjustments. That's what Tiger's faux pas is right now. He wants to go out and be Tiger Woods from a decade ago, where he could utilize a driver.
Yeah.
But Tiger Woods 15 years ago would use a two-wood as much as he used a driver, Charlton.
Yeah.
And he stayed in the fairway. He was hitting at 300 yards. But now, since he feels that he's lost a little momentum and his club head speed is still faster than anybody on the tour, Charlton,
Yes.
he wants to use a driver. It's never fared well with him. The last time I watched Tiger play, Charlton, I was at a FedEx Cup.
Yeah.
And Tiger was in the hunt until he got to the back nine. Took out a driver, and I was telling my buddy we were walking along with him. I said, he just lost. He was 3 shots off the lead. He's like, what do you mean? I said, he just took out the driver. Watch. He hooked it into the woods, Charlton.
No pun intended.
He hooked it.
Yeah.
That was 3 strokes right there, Charlton.
Yes.
Because he couldn't find he went in and found the ball, but when he hit it, it was so deep in, Charlton, he just muffed it.
You know, yeah.
His ego, and that's the thing. Maybe I need to ship him some moonshine or something because ego don't know anything about moonshine.
No.
He's real relaxed. But Tiger has not had a strong caddy.
Yeah.
And when you look at all the golfers, and even Tiger early in his career, he had 2 strong caddies.
Fluff was good.
Those guys went away, Charlton, when he had Duff and when he had, I can't remember the other guy, the Australian kid.
Yeah.
He had these 2 strong caddies. Tiger was on the top of the golf world. Tiger got to the point that it's me, it's not the caddies, because Steve Williams, the caddies were getting all this publicity.
Yeah.
But Tiger was still the man. And sometimes people don't want to share the couch. We saw the Dale Curry and Steph Curry commercial.
Yeah.
When he sits his dad's recliner. Dad
Yeah.
walk over to popcorn and he looked at him. Said, what championship? You take me to take my kid?
And in that commercial, Steph Curry didn't have his foot on his dad's sofa like Kellyanne Conway had her foot on the sofa at the White House, Big C. And Trump didn't show her anything, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, because she's used to doing that, Trump. That's how she sits here every day, okay?
Yeah.
Just like his first wife said, she considers herself the first lady. Melania just living in the White House.
That's funny. I think it's all fun. I love watching golf and Tiger's back. I love the fact that, as we get older in life, we realize that we're closer to the end of our lives than we are to the beginning. And same thing in the career. You realize you're closer to the end of your career than you are in the beginning. And you start to look back and say, who made a significant difference in your life? There are times in all of our lives we're going to be on the upside and we're going to be on the downside. But what we all need is somebody to show us the right direction no matter where we are in life, Big C. And I hope that Tiger finds that. I hope that Drake and Perkins will have that PSA where they can come out and tell young kids that are watching this game. This is even detente. Up there in Canada, United States, peace can be established by having proud men come out and talk. Big C, I think I want to finish this with Ali and Frazier, and they were had very, combative relationships and very hurtful things at times. And that was one of the things that Ali, he apologized for. He didn't want to make it personal. He was just trying to get in his head to have him, to win. He wanted to win, Big C. A lot of athletes have that. And I hope that at this juncture, we're not too big to say Ali did it, Frazier did it, we can do it, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I think social media has changed so much about how athletes look at things and how they approach everything. There's too much information always given. There's too much information always sought.
Yeah.
When you look at reporters and they try to go in depth, they're not concerned about the game. They're concerned about how do they break down an individual, how they get inside an individual, because they can't explain the game.
Yeah.
And so they ask questions that are many times irrelevant. That's why I admire Popovich so much, the coach of San Antonio.
He's amazing.
He said, you were watching the game? You
Yeah.
didn't figure it out? And, he gets fined by the NBA because he's not writing the article for a reporter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people, Bill Belichick's the same way, with the Patriots.
Yeah.
1 2-word answers. And people saying, well, he's not cordial. You're supposed to be smart enough to figure out what the game is about.
That's
Your
funny.
analogy should be as easy as the coach's analogy.
Yeah. No,
If you're watching the game and he's coaching the game, he's not sitting there analyzing the game while he's trying to figure out which play is going to work offensively and defensively.
yeah.
You have a bird's eye view for the time of that contest, whether it's a basketball game, football game, baseball game, hockey game. The coach is sitting down at field level.
Yeah.
Doesn't see everything that you see. but you're asking him to tell you what you saw. And so I can understand and appreciate the coaches that say, you're going to ask that stupid question.
Yeah, that's funny. Big C, we know it's all fair, love, and war. We love NBA. We love the sports business from the NHL to hockey. We love boxing. We love all the good sports. We love the political side. We love telling people go out and read. But what I love more is Big C. Back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Bundini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you've got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young man, rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, I want to give a shout-out to my boy Jerry Jones down with the Dallas Cowboys.
Uh-oh.
You know, this hasn't been the best of years for him, Charlton. He had to give the NFL $2 million for lawsuit, you know, that he had brought against him and stuff, and legal fees. He cut Dez Bryant. But the day he was cut by Jason Witten,
wow.
Okay? Enough is enough.
Oh,
Jason
man.
Witten will be a first ballot Hall of Fame tight end along with Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
That the Chargers are not going to sign. But he's like, I don't need this any longer. I'm going to follow my buddy Tony Romo and get in the TV booth.
Yeah.
Good luck to your future, Jason Witten, former Dallas Cowboy tight end.
Yeah, he's amazing. I thought you were going to say he punched Jerry Jones, but he quit the team behind his dad. Well, we're not quitting the team every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide. Follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America, and Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911 so no man or woman ever has to go through that garbage all on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope you have a super fantastic day.